What if you were given the choice to live in a dream? One where you were given the opportunity to enjoy the life you deserved. A life where all of the loved ones you've lost were still with you.
Can't stay here. Wake up, please.
Would you take it? The Summer Hikaru Died is a modern masterpiece that is an extremely fleshed out depiction of grief being used as a weapon against not just its main character, but also its readers. Blending body horror and the uncanny valley, The Summer Hikaru Dies continues to suck you into its narrative, constantly putting you on edge despite its tremendously positive atmosphere. Here, let's just go over the first chapter to see exactly what I'm talking about. The tone of this series is set immediately in the first chapter. It doesn't waste any time getting to the twist, and so it helps us in a way lower our guard right after this. We first meet Hikaru and Yoshiki after Hikaru has come back from his trip to the mountains. The two joke around about the stupidity of Hikaru's intonation of different words, and Yoshiki asks Hikaru if he remembers anything about his trip, but Hikaru doesn't remember a thing. Suspicious. Yoshiki doesn't trust him. That lack of memory makes no sense to him, and as such, it creates a feeling of unease. And so, Yoshiki says something to Hikaru, something that will confirm all of his suspicions, but also set a course of terror for Yoshiki.
You're not Hikaru, are you?
What the heck? How did you know? My imitation was supposed to be perfect. Don't tell a soul, please. For the first time in my life, I was living as a human. For the first time, I was able to enjoy my life. Who I am as a person and my body are both being borrowed, but I really do love you. Please don't tell anyone. I don't want to kill you.
Okay, Hikaru. It's nice to see you.
Like, what the fuck did I just read? I'm telling you, this story's really fucked up when you understand that these are middle schoolers, not full-grown adults. With that angle in mind, it makes this entire story way more than just your typical horror. It makes it something deeply disturbing, and more than that, it makes you think a lot. The story asks you questions that really make you sit down and ponder, such as what does it mean to have a soul and whether or not clinging to the comfort of an illusion is a worthy sacrifice. It makes you question what makes you, you. The result of this is a story that puts you in the shoes of a grieving victim. It's one that slowly eats away at your mind, making you lower your guard with Hikaru just like Yoshiki, despite the imminent danger he presents. Yet we as an audience can't help but see Hikaru as a goofball that doesn't present any harm. And just as Yoshiki locks his fears away, we do too. But we also feel conflicted. We know he's dangerous, but the story takes advantage of our naivety. It takes advantage of our humanity. And as we go through the manga, these feelings just continue to grow more problematic, leaving us vulnerable. Because at any moment, Hikaru could turn. At any moment, Hikaru could cease to be himself. And at any moment, someone could go missing. And all of these feelings are perfectly encapsulated by the art style. Holy shit, the art is beautiful. The attention to detail that's put into these panels, the way that it feels like I'm watching a movie due to the angles, the fisheye lens that keeps coming back to help create imbalance. It's absolute cinema. The art keeps you on your toes. 1 second, everything seems perfectly calm. The next page, Yoshiki's engulfed in thoughts of doubt, screaming at himself for his inadequacy. The story drowns its viewers in warped text, amplifying the suffering Yoshiki is going through in a way that doesn't feel overused or corny. The paneling helps the story flow seamlessly from one section to the next, resulting in a manga where every panel feels purposeful. You want to pay attention to every little detail in this manga, and the art helps accentuate these feelings. I pray that Cygames Pictures can deliver on this, though from the trailer alone, it looks like they'll be able to. This shit looks absolutely magnificent. So should you read or watch this series when it comes out? Fuck yeah, it's good. It's incredibly unique, and despite it being in the horror genre, it isn't your traditional horror. So if you're going in expecting some Junji Ito cosmic horror shit, prepare to be disappointed. The story is more about layering the psychological turmoils of Yoshiki and Hikaru rather than the gut-wrenching suspense of Uzumaki. So if that's up your alley and you're a pussy like me who stays up all night after watching any form of horror, then I can't recommend this enough. It is disturbing, but throughout the story, there are a lot of positive moments, which helps keep things light, but also suspenseful as it helps push its narrative of nothing being wrong. Also, subscribe and follow me on Twitch. Our first live stream is finally happening. Holy shit, I promised this so long ago, so I'm begging you, please be there next Friday at 7 PM Pacific time. But without further ado, let's dive a bit more into the story. If you've watched my videos before, you'll know that we have a structure to these which goes over the main plot points that I feel are relevant, the characters, and then I do a bit of critique after I finish glazing. Also, because this series is still in its early stages, this video is a bit more of a reflection on how it made me personally feel. So yes, while we will be doing the things mentioned before, don't expect the craziest deep dive on my part. The story begins in a quiet town with looming mountains. It's a peaceful village, not unlike many others you'd find in the countryside of Japan. That is until something from the mountains, something spooky, takes over Hikaru's body, and as Yoshiki learns the truth behind who exactly this new Hikaru is, he doesn't push him away. He accepts this new creature with open arms, and so the two go on a mission, trying to piece together what exactly this new Hikaru is. As the chapters go on, the village continues to warp itself. Things get more eerie, people start going missing, and the adults begin to lose their minds like a child without their iPad. But every time Yoshiki gets close to letting go of Hikaru, every time he gets close to truly accepting that Hikaru's dead, he freezes. He wants to move on, but that pain of realizing that his best friend is truly gone makes it all the more painful for him. It's what makes the story feel so grounded despite the out-of-this-world events happening around him. It's what makes the story feel so real, and it's what makes the story so disturbing. Hikaru loves Yoshiki. Yoshiki loves Hikaru. Those feelings are absolutely real, but those exact feelings are what's causing the deaths of the people around them. Because of this, the dilemmas that these two face are beyond what any normal person should have to confront, and as Yoshiki continues to mix in with Hikaru physically, we see his moral compass also do the same. He cares that Hikaru has killed people, but he also cares about himself, and what Yoshiki wants is to be with Hikaru. And the farther we go, the clearer it becomes that the horror isn't just what Hikaru is. It's the fact that Yoshiki is becoming the same, if not worse, than the very monster who threatens the existence of the people he loves. In the absence of closure, the comfort that Yoshiki keeps by his side has become a source of corruption for him, and the longer it continues, the more it feels like neither of them will ever be free. Because the worst part of grief isn't physically letting go of the person you lost, it's learning to continue living with what was left behind of them. And those fears are exactly what made this story resonate with thousands of people. But let's dig a bit more into our main characters, starting with Hikaru. Hikaru is a layered character. The fact that he starts off so shallow is what gives him depth. He wants to learn about this world, see what it truly is, and understand the people that his past self held dear. Slowly but surely, Hikaru learns about the depths of humanity, what it means to live, and the values that the soul brings to others. He begins to sympathize with them, but starts off as just wanting to eat ice cream with his best friend, ends up becoming a story about accepting the flaws of humanity. However, this doesn't make him good, at least not in the eyes of human society. Despite his yearning to fit in with humanity, he can never fully understand the value of life, and as such, he struggles all the same to come to terms with the feelings he has. He feels the value of Yoshiki's soul, but when it comes to the rest of the world, he fails to understand their suffering. He can't fathom the concept of him being a source of pain for people outside of Yoshiki, and as such, it creates rifts between the two. However, the problem doesn't lie solely in Hikaru. Yoshiki, despite his grievances towards Hikaru's way of thinking, still enables his behavior in his own way. Yoshiki can't come to terms with the fact that he is in fact grieving his best friend's death, and as such, he continues to allow Hikaru to roam free. Yoshiki's torment stems from the fact that he, and he alone, is grieving for Hikaru's death, at least in the beginning. Very few people can tell the differences between the current Hikaru and the old one, and so in fears of dooming the village he calls home, Yoshiki doesn't say a word. He keeps this horrifying event a secret from the world, and as such, it slowly erodes him. We hear his thoughts, and they're all crying in agony. Yoshiki may have a mouth, but he cannot scream. For the sake of the people he holds dear to him, he must stay quiet. And all this does is increase the stakes for our characters. As we go through the story, it shows that even when we disregard the psychological turmoil being inflicted upon Yoshiki, Hikaru isn't actually the same as he was before. They may share obvious qualities, and at face value it might seem like they're the same, but to the people who truly know him, this is a completely different person. The people that know he's not Hikaru see through his ruse, and as such, we see their differences. The current Hikaru is a perfect version of him, one that doesn't lie or act as mischievous as his previous iteration did. This one is slightly more straight-edged, does what is considered right in the eyes of the world, with the exception of fucking murder, and lives in a state of survival, whereas the old Hikaru was far more carefree. But could this just be a case of Hikaru growing up? His tastes and worldviews may have shifted, but isn't that just par for the course of growing pains? I guess what I'm trying to ask is, does this actually prove that they're completely different people, or is Hikaru just, in a way, growing up alongside this monster? But enough about Hikaru, let's talk about Yoshiki. Actually, we already have been. This was a terrible segue. Yoshiki is a character who's being crushed between the value of life just as much as Hikaru is. Look at this panel. Right here, this middle schooler is already trying to understand what defines the soul. Hikaru is alive to the rest of the world, but to him, Hikaru is dead. And so Yoshiki gets stuck in a perpetual cycle of accepting and then denying Hikaru over and over and over. Slowly but surely, we see Yoshiki crumble apart. We see him go into denial, stating that he doesn't use Hikaru as cheap emotional relief. But we also see him admit in later chapters that he's only doing this for himself. So is Hikaru in a way alive, despite all arrows pointing otherwise, or is he well and truly dead? These questions echo in our mind, and as the story goes on, we see Yoshiki solidify his stance on his selfishness. We see him accept his ugly self, and as he continues to do so, he continues to mix in with Hikaru. While this might be a replacement for the real Hikaru, while this might just be an illusion, while this might bring harm to others, he doesn't care. He knows it's wrong, he knows it's cruel, he knows it can lead to more harm, but it doesn't matter. And all of these feelings are amplified at the beach. The beach scene is the perfect showcase of Yoshiki's true nature and the results of his agony. He says that he doesn't view the current Hikaru as the same person, yet his attachment to the new Hikaru is the same, if not stronger than his previous bond. Despite Hikaru's growth as a person, with him deciding to sacrifice himself to stop more people from getting hurt, Yoshiki refuses to allow him to. He's in denial, and ironically, our main characters switch positions. Hikaru ends up being the one who wants to help the world, putting away his selfish desires, while Yoshiki tries to recklessly continue clinging onto his illusion. It's a tragic switching of philosophies, one where both characters end up trapped between. And all of it is because Yoshiki can't move on. He refuses to, he wants to be with Hikaru forever, even if it's just a husk of the one he once knew. It's the bittersweet solace that the current Hikaru gives him that's so addicting, and so Yoshiki spirals into madness, trying to find a way to solve the existence of Hikaru, trying to find a way for Hikaru to be accepted into society. Even after Hikaru almost kills their friends, even after Hikaru murders an old lady in cold blood, even after they meet the daughter of said old lady, Yoshiki proves time and time again that the real monster isn't just Hikaru, it's also the one who enables him, the one who loves him. I'm not ranking this one, it just straight up doesn't feel right to do that now. It would feel like giving a trophy to a baby for knowing how to breathe, like, good job Timmy, you're alive! I'm not editing more manga panels, so take some behind the scenes of my Blender stuff. The series has been pretty damn solid all things considered, everything has been written and drawn with a level of care you hardly see, so I don't really have a critique. I just can't give it a rating because we haven't reached a huge revolutionary moment in the story yet. The seeds are still being planted and the mangaka is taking their time with it, which I'm completely cool with. I'm not a big fan of horror, but this one was great. I love the dynamics between the two main characters, and stories about the corruption of mankind are my favorite. Putting horror and slice of life together is an amazing mix, since those slice of life moments fit perfectly in, giving us time away from the horrible things happening to our main characters, while still adding to the actual terror of it all. That escape from reality you get from ironically being in reality helps add so much flavor to this already top tier story, which was a point I wanted to touch on, but manga panel editing is pretty damn painful, I cannot lie. Anyways, subscribe. I go over a bunch of stuff, so if you're looking for some anime that follows similar storylines, I highly recommend watching my videos on Madoka Magica and Land of the Lustrous. And as always, additional notes and corrections will be in the pinned comment below.